up in the church was a very different kind of experience. If you're not used to growing up in a family that is very religiously centered, it can be a mind funk, and it's very different to what a lot of people have experienced. And one of the things I took as, it may not have been presented in a positive way, but sometimes the exact opposite, or what was missing, is something that I took. And for me, number 13 would be controlling my language and breaking out of a limited vocabulary. I grew up in a family, and their religion controlled my speech. If you know what I mean, Christians believe that every word that comes out of your mouth has to be positive, affirming, and of godly intent. There's a lot of words that aren't allowed to be spoken. And especially what they deem swear words, or words that negatively impact religious dogma. And I've learned to use my words, especially words that weren't permitted when I was young, to gain autonomy over my life. Words like the F word, the C word, hell, damn, words like that. Pretty mild, but words like that, I helped gain autonomy by using words that I wasn't allowed to use. And most of the words I wouldn't have used to begin with, because when you don't watch certain movies, you don't have access to popular media, you haven't a clue that these things exist. And now that I've experienced most things, anything I haven't experienced with my own hands, I've seen it vicariously through other people. I'm aware of how the adult world works, and I just live as though I'm a secular adult. And sometimes I use language that I wasn't allowed to use or hadn't a clue about when I was younger to express myself in a healthy, open, constructive way. I wasn't allowed to have a full range of emotions, and emotions are like crayon boxes. They come in all colors, and they're used in different ways. And I wasn't allowed to have a full range of emotion. And this is extremely, extremely sad, because if you can't understand, recognize, control, and use your emotions, they will control you. And that's why I'm always trying to understand why I feel the way I do, and how I can go about just using my emotions and opinions in a positive light. When you're not allowed to get angry, when you're not allowed to feel resentment, and the only emotions you are allowed is happiness, hope, peace, and joy. You're not allowed to have any negative emotions. You're not allowed to have age-appropriate feelings, which is why things like sexual arousal, shame, guilt are hard to process or even put into action. Because when you're in fundamentalist Christianity, an upset, angry woman, they don't know what to do with you. My own father wouldn't know what to do with me. And I can use my words to jump out of the limited opportunity I had as a child. I don't have to rely on anything else. I can choose how I express myself. And being in therapy, we learned about constructive communication, transparency, vulnerability. We learned how to have an appropriate time-serving argument. I mean, I learned not to speak for other people. I learned to voice my feelings, emotions, and to process, correct, or use my emotions and feelings in an appropriate, adult, mature way. And that's something that is very restricted or limited in a fundamentalist church. I mean, women are not supposed to get angry. And when they do, they're extremely criticized. I mean, there's a reason why the word hysterical means something feminine related. They don't call men hysterical. And I've learned how to use my emotions to defy stereotypes. And organized religion, is all about controlling people. And if they can control how your inner voice works, they can control what words you use and how you speak, and they can shame you for even speaking, depending on your education, your race, and your gender. I mean, they got it made. Which is why I don't want anyone to tell me how to speak. Does that mean when I'm at work that I use swear words? Of course not. I'm professional. And when I'm in a position where I'm not on the clock, I'm off work, and I'm not representing the business I work for, I can use whatever language I want to. And I'm not going to use bad words, racial slurs, anything like that, because I'm an ally. But I've learned that if you can control your own speech, how you use speech, and how you understand vocabulary, it is amazing what you can do with your life. And that's why religion loves to control your words. Because if they can control what comes out of your mouth, they can control how you see yourself. And that's why I learned autonomy through the words I speak, the words I don't speak. And the words I don't speak, it usually falls into 3 categories. I know more educated synonyms to use. I don't want to be in a group of people that use certain bad words. And it's not, or I don't use words because they don't encompass what I'm talking about. I try to use advanced or intermediate vocabulary. So I can use words that I haven't been able to say because I own my own body. I own my own experiences. I own who I am. And if people take offense outside of work to me saying a swear word, then I'm not the problem. I'm not the problem. And sometimes to be in a healthy mindset, to avoid mental health issues and a lot of stress, sometimes you need to distress. Now, not everyone lets off stress and steam by screaming an F word, okay? Usually I just say it internally Because the things I have to deal with, the stupidity I have to deal with every day from people, can build up into bodily issues. I work in the medical field, and if you don't let go of stress in a way that works for you, you'll be the one on the scheduling board, because you will have all kinds of maladies. And some autoimmune conditions can be jump-started or triggered by holding in your feelings, whether they're negative or you just don't want to process something. And I've learned you have to get this out of your body, because people age, they develop sickness and illnesses. They can't process this because they don't know how, or they don't want to. And I've learned, being a therapist, how to get rid of stress. And I want to own my language. I don't care what some invisible unicorn in the sky says I can't say. If it's not your tongue, if it's not your mouth, if it's not your body, you have no say in the matter. Even though white privileged men in DC say otherwise, no one gets to tell me how I use my body. And as long as I'm not hurting myself or breaking the law, I say live and use your words in the way you want to. So that's one reason why I don't like religion. If they want to control everything about you, they have a problem. And I'm done having and being forced to adhere to a standard that just causes me physical illness. I'm done protecting what words I use because they're not child friendly. Trust me, children already know the F word by the age of 11. They just do. They've probably seen stuff you don't know is even near them. And you teach kids the proper place to say certain things. And it's not at work, and it's probably not okay around kids under 12. But there's a time and place for saying whatever you want. And if people find fault with what you say, I would say get different friends. I don't let people control how I talk. I make sure that every word that comes out is either a factual statistic that can help prevent people's ignorance, or I'm sharing about my life. And that's important.